You tried ChatGPT, maybe you asked it to write a proposal, maybe even an estimate, maybe some emails to follow up on a lead that you didn't want to lose. And it gave you something back that looked fine, okay, professional, like something that you could actually use. So you sent it and then nothing happened the way you expected. Maybe the client ghosted you. Maybe you won the job and regretted it 2 weeks in. Maybe you just read it back a day later and thought, this just doesn't sound like me at all. Here's what's going on. You're not bad at using AI or ChatGPT. You're just using it wrong. And so is almost every other contractor trying to figure all this AI stuff out right now. I'm going to walk you through 7 specific mistakes, the ones I see residential general contractors and remodelers making over and over again. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do instead. Let's get into it. Before I get to those 7 mistakes, I want to give you the 1-sentence reason they all happen. Contractors are treating ChatGPT like a new hire who already knows everything. Think about what that looks in practice. You handed a big open-ended task like write me a proposal, give me a pricing strategy, create a scope of work for this bathroom, and you expect something you can send directly to a client. What comes back looks polished. It's got all the right words in all the right places, but when you actually read it, really read it, it's hollow. It doesn't know your market. It doesn't know you, your rates. It doesn't know the subfloor situation you found on the walkthrough, or the fact that this client is trying to flip the house, or that your closest tile supplier has been out of product for 6 weeks. It's average by definition. And here's the thing. A survey by the Associated General Contractors of America found that more than half of construction firms were already experimenting with AI tools in 2024. More than half, but very few had a real strategy. They were just trying things. That gap between trying it and getting actual value from it, that's where most contractors are stuck right now. So the goal of this video isn't to tell you to stop using AI, it's to show you exactly where it breaks down and what to do instead. 7 mistakes, let's go. Mistake number 1, this is going to hit you hard, using AI to write your estimates. This is the one that can actually hurt you, not just waste your time, actually cost you real money. Here's a scenario. Homeowner calls. They want a master bath gut and remodel. You're running 3 jobs, your phone hasn't stopped ringing, and you need to get a number back to them today. So you open up ChatGPT and you type, write me an estimate for a master bathroom remodel. And it gives you one. Line items, labor, materials, the whole thing. Looks good, looks real. You adjust a couple of numbers, put your name on the top, and send it. Here's the problem. ChatGPT does not know what tile costs in your zip code this week. It doesn't know your labor rate. It doesn't know your sub markup. It doesn't know that this job is on the 3rd floor of a townhouse with a spiral staircase and no way to get a drywall lift up there. It pulls from averages, thousands of sources, none of them your business, your market, or your current supplier relationships. So you've got 2 bad outcomes. Either the number's too low and you win the job and you spend the next 6 weeks losing money, or the number's too high for your market. The client looks at it, says thanks, no thanks, and signs with the guy who actually walked the job and priced it right. And here's the part that nobody talks about, the missed scope items. So there was a contractor who used Handoff AI, an estimating tool built specifically for general contractors. And it caught a missed 2,500 bathroom scope item, not because he asked ChatGPT a smarter question, because he uploaded a job site photo and had a tool that actually looked at what was in front of it and said, hey, you forgot this room exists. That's what purpose-built estimating AI looks like. It sees your job. ChatGPT just sees a category. The rule here is simple. Use AI to organize your thinking before you estimate. Use it to build a checklist of scope items to think through. Do not use it to generate the actual numbers you send to a client. Instead, use a tool like Handoff that is built for residential remodelers, general contractors, knows your numbers, knows you, and knows how to help you win that job. Mistake number 2, generic prompts for proposals. Write me a professional proposal for a kitchen remodel. I want you to think about that prompt for a second. What does ChatGPT actually know about this kitchen? Absolutely nothing. What does it know about your client? Nothing. What does it know about what makes your company different from the 3 other general contractors this homeowner talked to last week? Absolutely nothing. So it writes your proposal and it sounds fine. We are pleased to submit this proposal for your upcoming kitchen renovation. Our team brings years of experience. You know, that's what the last guy sent them to. Generic. no way to stand out. Here's the thing about homeowners today. They've gotten a lot smarter. They've seen AI content. They're on AI content. They can feel when something was generated or something was written by a real person who stood in their kitchen and paid attention. What wins jobs is a proposal that proves you were listening, that you remember that they mentioned those soft close cabinets, that you noticed the water damage behind the sink that nobody else flagged, that you took 3 photos and came back with a document that looked like it was built for this job specifically, because it was. So here's how you fix it. Don't ask ChatGPT to create a proposal from scratch. Give it your raw material and ask it to clean it up. Pull out the notes from your walkthrough, the voice memo that you made on the way back to your truck, the specific things the client said that they cared about. Put that in there, then ask ChatGPT to turn that into a clear, professional document. Now it has something real to work with, and what comes out the other end actually reflects the job. Better yet, you can use a tool like Handoff, where you put in your scope, your photos, your pricing, and it builds a proposal around your actual data, not a template, your job. Handoff has a walkthrough feature where you can literally go into the job, walk through the scope, walk through the project, take some job site photos, talk through it, give it some generic square footage, although it can take the square footage from the photo, and it will pump out a clean professional estimate within minutes that you can edit, that's ready to send to your client before you even leave the driveway. Mistake number 3, trusting AI for local material pricing. This one is straightforward, but it's burned a lot of people. ChatGPT has a training cutoff. Everything it knows about material pricing comes from data that was frozen at some point in the past. It does not know what lumber is actually doing this week. It doesn't know your local supplier raised framing prices 12% in the first quarter. It doesn't know that the window line your client picked out is sitting on a 14-week back order. And here's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't tell you when it's guessing. It gives you a number with the same confidence it would give you a historical fact. There's no asterisk. There's no this might be off. Just a number that looks real. Contractors have signed contracts based on AI generated pricing and spent the rest of the project trying to make up the difference. That's not a ChatGPT problem. That's a using the wrong tool for the wrong job problem. Real pricing comes from your actual supplier relationships, past job data, and tools that are plugged into live market rates. Handoff, for example, updates material costs daily across every city in the US, connecting directly to catalogs. That's what localized pricing actually means. Use ChatGPT to help you organize your line items, think through your cost categories, maybe with the structure a little bit. For the numbers themselves, you need to have your go-to real sources. Mistake number 4, letting AI write your scope of work. Your scope of work is a legal document. I want to say that again. It is a legal document. It defines what you're doing, what you're not doing, and who's responsible when something goes sideways on the job, and there's always something. That is not the place for ChatGPT to give you that document. Generic AI scopes have a specific failure pattern. They're vague in exactly the wrong places. You'll see language like, contractor will install flooring as agreed. As agreed, agreed where? What's the supply and material? What does that even mean? What's the subfloor condition? What happens to the existing floor? What are the tolerances? Those aren't nitpicky details. Those are things that turn into arguments and disagreements at the end and during the job. Here's what AI is actually good for in this context. Give it a checklist roll. Ask it, what are the things I typically need to cover in a scope of work for a bathroom remodel? Use it to make sure you haven't forgotten anything, then write the actual specifics yourself. The other thing that matters here, your scope doesn't live in isolation. It needs to connect to your estimate, your proposals, your change orders. When something changes mid-job, and it will, you need a paper trail that actually links everything together. That's what a real job management system looks like. Handoff Projects keeps all of this in one place. Estimate, proposals, change orders, invoices, all tied into a single job record, because the problem isn't just a bad scope. It's a bad scope with no trail back to the original agreement. Mistake number 5, using AI instead of a real job workflow. I've talked to contractors who are using ChatGPT as a CRM, their follow-up system, their job tracker, and I get why. It feels like it should work. It helps a little bit. You ask it a question, it gives you an answer. You can tell it what's going on, and it helps you think through what to do next. But here's the fundamental problem. ChatGPT has no memory between conversations. Every time you open a new chat, you're essentially starting from zero. It does not remember Mrs. Torres. It does not know you promised to call her on Thursday. It does not know the inspector is coming back next week or that you're still waiting on that tile delivery, or that the client approved the change order verbally, they haven't signed it yet. You cannot run a real business on a tool with no memory. What you need is a system that keeps jobs organized from first contact to final payment without you having to carry everything in your head. And when scope changes mid-job, which it always does, you need to handle it in a way that's documented and professional. Handoff is actually the only platform that generates change orders using AI, tied to the original estimate set for a digital signature, payment collection built in. So when the client adds the deck while you're already doing the kitchen, you're not writing it on a napkin. You've got a documented change order with a signature in 3 minutes. AI is a thinking tool. It is not a job management system. Mistake number 6, expecting AI, ChatGPT to sound like you. This is the one that catches people kind of off guard. You ask ChatGPT to write a proposal or email to a client or a bio for your website, and what comes back sounds professional, competent even. But when you read it, it doesn't sound like you. It sounds like every other AI-generated email a homeowner has gotten from every other contractor. And here's why that matters. Your clients hire you, not your proposals, not your emails, you, because they talked to you and they trusted you and they felt like you actually know what you were doing and you cared about them and their house. When your written communication sounds like it came from a robot, even a polished one, it chips away a little bit at that trust, especially the third or fourth time a client sees it. The fix isn't complicated, but it requires a step most people skip. If you want AI to sound like you, you have to show it what you sound like. Find an email you wrote to a client that you felt good about, a text message where you explain something clearly. Paste it in there. Tell ChatGPT, I want to sound like this, but cleaned up. Now it has something to work from. That one change makes a significant difference. Your reputation took years to build. Don't let a generic language model flatten it into boilerplate. And finally, mistake number 7, skipping the human review. This one sounds obvious. It's still the one that bites people. Contractor gets something back from ChatGPT, looks good. They paste it into proposal, attach it to their email, hit send. And somewhere in that document is a number that doesn't match the line above it, or a measurement that's wrong, or a clause that says the opposite of what was agreed, or a sentence the client reads completely differently than intended. Here's what you have to understand about ChatGPT. It makes mistakes with the same confidence it makes correct statements. It doesn't hedge. It doesn't flag the part it's uncertain about. It just writes, and everything looks equally authoritative, whether it's right or completely wrong. Every single thing you're going to send to a client needs a human read through, not a skim, an actual read. 5 minutes is all it takes. That's it. That's a lot less time than dealing with a client who's confused or angry about something that slipped through. The contractors who get the most value from AI aren't skipping the step. They're using the tools that get close to the right on the first pass. So the review is super quick, and then they're doing the review anyway every single time. All right, so there you have it, those 7 mistakes. And I want to be super clear here. None of this means AI is bad or that you should give up on it. It means it's useful in specific places. And when you use it in those places, it saves real time. So let me give you a short version. What does it do? Drafting and editing. You write a rough paragraph to explain a change order to a client. It's clunky, you paste it in. Ask AI to clean it up. What comes back is professional. That's a great use. And then you use a tool like Handoff. Brainstorming. You get a difficult client situation you're not sure how to handle. You describe it to ChatGPT and ask it for 3 ways to approach it. You pick the one that fits and adapt it. Perfect use. You can research starting points. You want to understand what the permit process looks like for an ADU in your state. AI gives you a great framework. You verify it with your local building department. Great use. Email templates. You send the same follow-up every single estimate. AI helps you build a strong estimate. You personalize it before you send. Great use. And then there's this last one, which is where purpose-built AI tools completely separate from ChatGPT. Photo-based estimating. You snap a photo of a bathroom on a walkthrough. You upload it into Handoff. The AI reads the photo, identifies the scope, counts the fixtures, builds a line item estimate from what it actually sees, because it was trained on real construction data, not average text from a billion websites. That's what construction specific AI looks like. That's the future. And that's a completely different category from a general purpose chatbot. The pattern is the same across all of these. AI works when you feed it real inputs and use it to refine, not replace. So what's the bottom line about all this? ChatGPT is a useful tool. It is not a contractor. It does not know your market, your subs, your clients, your rates, or really what a fair price is for the work that you do in the city that you're in. The contractors getting real value from it right now are the ones using it to sharpen their own thinking, not the ones handing the wheel on their most important documents. There's a clear line between what ChatGPT is good for and what it's not. General drafting, brainstorming, organizing your thoughts, ChatGPT can help. Estimating, proposals, change orders, job management, those need tools built for how you actually work. That's why people built Handoff AI, purpose built for residential general contractors and remodelers, real-time material pricing, AI proposals that come from your scope and your data, change orders that tie back to the original estimate and go out for digital signature, all of that in one place. If you're spending 2 or 3 evenings a week on paperwork, estimates, proposals, follow-ups, invoices, that's time that you're not billing for, and it's time you're not spending with your family or your crew. The link to start a free trial is in the description. 7 days, no credit card. Try it on a real job. See what it does to your turnaround time. You can literally have your first estimate up and ready to send within minutes.